right, you guys. So we're back with part 3 of the Bembenek and Avery Wrongful Conviction Coincidences, Making a Murderer. Um, as you know, everybody in Wisconsin is basically sick, including myself and my family. So I don't sound normal. I can't help it. But in between my sleeping patterns and such, I tend to dig in really well in the research part. Hi Anna, good to see you. And so in that I started reading the Bembenek, and then I went and got some Avery stuff, and I was able to lay them side by side, you guys. And what I'm about to show you, it just leaves chills on me, like the hair on my arm stand up with. This is not coincidence. This is absolute pattern. And it shows that this was planned. This whole thing planned. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start off with the DNA results. Okay, let me back up. I've been trying all night, like through fitful dreams. Okay, so I dreamed, this is the fever that you get with these colds, or at least some of us do. I dreamed my animals turned to wooden blocks. It was horrific. I woke up and I was like, oh, my babies. But anyway, so in between that kind of stuff, and maybe it's a fever talking, but I came across 2 documents, one in the Avery case and one in the Bembenek case. And it just, you're going to have to go through it with me. It's the only way to explain it. And then you guys can tell me if it's my fever talking or if this is absolutely deniable proof of bad faith before all this with Avery. Like they planned this entire thing, I think. Okay, so let's go back over to the live and see who we got. Excuse me. Hi, Gloria. How are you? Anna says that their son, she is sick, and her son is sick. Justin's on round 2 or 3. Gloria, how you doing? We'll come back and check in a little bit. So are you all with me? Should we just dig in? Because my energy comes in spurts, and I want to make sure while I'm fresh we get this on a roll. So this is Andy Nilsson, Green Bay Press, Gazette, February 27th, 2007. And it talks about Chilton DNA expert Sherry Culhane spent nearly all of Monday defending her test results that show the origin of blood and DNA found in Teresa Halbach's sport utility vehicle in 2005. So she was defending her test results that show the origin of the blood and DNA found in Teresa Halbach's sport utility vehicle. There you go, Gretchen. All right, so I don't remember seeing all of that testimony. I would love to see that, and perhaps that's written in a report I can read. But anyway, it goes on to say her testimony nearly doubled the half day she spent Friday detailing the only piece of DNA evidence that directly connects Halbach to Steve Avery's property. Avery, 44, is accused of killing Halbach, 25, on Halloween 2005 and burning her body to hide the crime. Monday was the 11th day of testimony in what is expected to be a 6-week homicide trial. Avery's 17-year-old nephew, Brendan Dassey, also is charged in Halbach's death and is scheduled for trial in April. Okay. At the core of the issue Monday was a test that revealed Halbach as the lone contributor of genetic material found on a bullet fragment recovered in Avery's garage. The piece of lead was pulled from a crack in Avery's garage 4 months after the investigation began in early November 2005. Culhane's own DNA was found in a negative control sample processed along with the bullet fragment sample. The control sample is supposed to be void of any DNA and is used to validate the test's accuracy. Culhane speculated that she contaminated the sample while talking to trainees during the DNA extraction process. Hold right there, you guys. Let's stop. I want to back up. So the defense is told that they cannot be a witness to them testing this bullet. And what was it called? The lone where was it? The lone contributor of genetic material found on the bullet fragment recovered in Avery's garage. The defense is told no because they would risk contaminating the exact test that establishes this, right? But yet they brought in extra trainees? Like, really? All right. Wow. The evidence sample was not compromised, Culhane maintained. Defense lawyer Jerome Beauty noted that standard lab protocol dictates the result should have been deemed inconclusive and the sample reanalyzed. There it is. I'm a little slow on the cough syrup. However, that couldn't be done because the entire sample was used during the initial test. Culhane testified that she was able to make a ruling on the DNA found on the bullet after discussing it with her supervisor. Stop right there. That's a complete falsification. It wasn't her supervisor at all. It was a supervisor from the sister crime lab in Milwaukee. But we'll get into that. Quote, I felt this was probative evidence, Culhane said. I felt it was appropriate because I could not go back and re-extract. I was stuck with what I had. I couldn't redo anything to remedy the situation. Culhane admitted it was the only time in her 23-year career that she had deviated from protocol to make a conclusive ruling. The deviation I requested was appropriate for this situation, and the results reported were correct, Culhane said. Beauty suggested Culhane made her results fit a request by prosecutors to find DNA evidence that connected Halbach to Avery's property. In this case, Mr. Tom Fassbender, lead investigator, asked you to try to put Teresa in the defendant's garage or house, Beauty said. Any request from the investigator had no bearing whatsoever on my examination or my results, Culhane said. No bearing whatsoever, Beauty challenged, and yet, for the first time in your career, you deviated from protocol to find one piece of evidence, the only piece of evidence in this entire case that links Teresa Halbach with Mr. Avery's garage or house. That exchange drew an objection from prosecutors who said it was argumentative, and Manitowoc County Circuit Judge Patrick Willis sustained the objection. After Monday's hearing, Beauty said prosecutors cannot pick and choose which results they like. The contaminated test should have been excluded, and is a sign of a bigger problem. Excuse me. My apologies, you guys. I can't wait on this kind of stuff because I can't sleep when this stuff is going on. So I'm going to keep going. Bear with me, please. It's like if you open up a microwave dinner and you see a fly in the little peach cobbler. Are you going to eat the Salisbury steak, Beauty said after Monday's hearings? I hope not. Most of us aren't. You find contamination in one area, you're going to find it in the entire test, and that's why the protocol says throw it out. To me, this is indicative of just how much effort has gone into trying to nail this man. Also at issue Monday was the plausibility that Avery's DNA was planted inside Halbach's RAV4. Culhane was the analysis who found and sampled a handful of blood spots inside the vehicle. In fact, where you found those 6 stains in November of 2005, the ones that were later attributed to Mr. Avery's DNA, one could have planted simply by opening 2 doors on that vehicle, Beauty asked. I really cannot comment on that, Culhane said. If someone was to plant Mr. Avery's blood in that vehicle to get those 6 stains, they would need to open the driver's door, right? Beauty asked. Yes. Or yeah, Culhane said. Beauty cross-examined continued to work the angle that Avery's DNA was planted. He asked if the DNA found on the Toyota key recovered in Avery's bedroom could have been rubbed on or rubbed with another item, allowing the transfer of DNA. Beauty's question suggested a toothbrush or a swab used to collect a DNA standard. In my experience, toothbrushes are not a real good source of DNA, Culhane said, but added that a transfer might be possible. It's very difficult to get a profile from a toothbrush. There are many ways, in fact, many personal items someone might rub on against a key that might also shed a deposit, a low amount of DNA, like such as you found on this key, Beauty pressed. Yes, it's possible, Culhane said. Butane caught her response and followed with, "You cannot tell whether the DNA that was found on the key was planted there by somebody or not, can you?" "No," Culhane said. Butane also emphasized that Culhane did not find Halbach's DNA on the key she reportedly used daily. It was the first in a litany of places Halbach's DNA was not found and became issues in Butane's cross-examination. Halbach's DNA was not present on the handcuffs, leg irons, headboard, and carpeting from Avery's bedroom, Culhane said. A mixture of DNA was found on the handcuffs and leg irons seized from Avery's bedroom. It was Avery's own DNA and sample of another unidentified person, Culhane said. So, the thing is it's tainted results. We don't have a bullet here that should have had to be, she did something and deviated from the protocol. The protocol itself, it's there because if the standard is contaminated, it says that the bullet is contaminated too, right? They go hand in hand. They're a married system. Scientifically, they're a married system. And so she's obviously not following protocol if she is coughing or spitting on the bullet because she should have had on a face mask. They're not letting the defense in, but they're letting in trainees to watch this example. At a high-profile time when Sherry's got the only evidence, as if she didn't need more pressure, bring in a whole bunch of trainees to watch a process, but don't allow the defense in. Well, the whole protocol change out of 23-year career of Culhane on a bullet, key to the Avery wrongful conviction, right? Let's go back. We're going to come to the Bembenek case, and we're going to dig into that. But first, let's say hello to some people, and then we're going to do a comparison to the Bembenek case. And remember, we're dealing with the Milwaukee Crime Lab signs off on Culhane's deviation, and they also are going to sign off on their own in two different cases. The only times ever in history that protocol in that state crime lab had be altered was for a bullet. Once in the Bembenek case and once in the Avery case. All right, let's see. I got to jump in. Gloria says not sick yet. Oh, I hope you don't get sick. Ah, what a good surprise. Hi, Rubberducky. And everyone says dark side of the moon. Thank you, dear. Mary says, I'm going to take a drink. Most important trial in Wisconsin state history, and Sherry is training. Right. It's so sad. It's laughable. Gloria says should have been thrown out right there. Absolutely. Hi, Paula. Welcome aboard. And I'm going to say Juanetta. I think it's Juanetta. I hope I say that right. Welcome to the live. Forgive me. I'm all snot and boogers. But we're doing good. We're doing good. So we're going to reiterate what we just talked about. And then we're going to jump over and compare the Bembenek case. So for those of you that are just joining, we'll do a real quick summary. So this is Andy Nelson, Green Bay Press Gazette, February 27th, 2007. And Andy goes on to explain how the only time in 23-year career of Sherry Culhane, protocol had to be requested to be deviated from in the Avery case because Sherry had contaminated the bullet. We're talking about how did she contaminate it with spit or a cough or whatever. If she's standard protocol is to wear a mask, if she's wearing a mask, how'd she contaminate the bullet? Also, she's talking about in this that she had trainees. Culhane speculated that she contaminated the sample while talking to trainees during the DNA extraction process. So she's just talking to trainees without a face mask while she's testing the most important piece of evidence in all of Wisconsin judicial history. Yeah. There you have it. So the protocol deviation, the biggest problem is that, like Jerome Buting talks about in here. He said if you opened, I think it was a TV dinner, and you find a fly in the peaches, are you going to eat the chicken? I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I'm saying. He brought that up. And it was interesting because he brought up the whole, in this case, Tom Fassbender, the lead investigator, asked you to try to put Teresa Halbach in the defendant's garage or house. And Culhane's denying that had any bearing whatsoever. And Budine says, he challenges her and says, yet for the first time in your career, you deviate from protocol to find one piece of evidence, the only piece of evidence in this entire case that links Teresa Halbach with Mr. Avery's garage or house. So, obviously, the Manitowoc County Circuit Judge Patrick Willis sustained the objection. So, he goes on to talk about how most of the evidence he suspects is planted. And that's where we are. And the whole case with the Avery case that Budine's saying is that she's having to deviate from the rule. Now, think about the rule is that if you have A and B in front of you, okay, and you sneeze, okay, like I'm sick right now. I'm going to put 2 muffins right in front of me, you guys. I've got muffin A and muffin B. The next time I sneeze, I'm going to sneeze on these muffins, okay? A tests positive that it has influenza B from me sneezing on it. Are you willing to just eat this B muffin? You want to eat it after I sneezed on this stuff? Because A already tests positive to influenza B. Right? So if you've contaminated, then the environment means that the actual evidence itself is more than likely contaminated as well. And if Sherry is not wearing a face mask, which is standard protocol, I mean, you are breaking major rules, right? You talk through your mask. A doctor's not going to take his mask off during surgery to say, pass me a scalpel, right? So why would you take your mask off? I'm guessing she took it off or she didn't have one. So if she's not able to even respectfully use standard operating procedure of the GOP, which is general practicing, operations, which is you're going to wear a mask. If you can't do that, if you're not doing that, how do we know you didn't rub Teresa's DNA off your glove from something you picked up earlier? Because you probably don't even change gloves or wear them at this point. Yeah, who trained her, Gloria wants to know. I haven't the foggiest, but I think she went to Marquette. I'm blaming it all on Marquette. I don't really know. Somebody check that, please. Find out where Sherry Culhane got her skills from. I know she was grandfathered in and all kinds of weird stuff. So, okay, you guys, are you ready for the connection? Let's read Mary 30-30-30. If DNA results came back in defense favor, best bet it would have been thrown out. You got that right. Okay, guys, we're going to go over now. Keep in mind everything we just talked about on the protocol, the fact that Milwaukee's the crime lab's the one that signed off on Culhane's deviation. Let's go over here to the Bembenek case. It's titled, it's part 16. You can find LoriBembenek.blogspot.com. We're on part 16. It's titled, The State Will Do Anything to Win. On October 19, 2010, investigator consultant Ira Robbins filed a petition and complaint seeking a John Doe judicial investigation in Dane County. The following excerpts contain information concerning the criminal acts committed by the State Department of Justice, including crime laboratory personnel and representatives of the Attorney General's office. Additional, it provides proof that the same supervisor temporarily changed a state protocol in order to obtain false and misleading opinions from state experts regarding their examination and retested of an alleged murder weapon. In essence, official reports were deliberately created to mislead the court. At least 2 assistant attorney generals participated in the cover-up of these crimes. Although this case has gone on for almost 3 decades, the State Crime Laboratory and Attorney General's Office, acting under the color of law, have continued to obstruct justice during recent court-ordered DNA and ballistics testing. Ready for this, guys? Michael J. Camp, supervisor of the Milwaukee Regional Crime Laboratory, illegally placed a false document in the homicide file to verify the false representation of the district attorney in the recent DNA hearings. Additionally, he obtained permission from John Nelson, crime laboratory supervisor, who had received permission from the director of the state crime laboratory to temporarily change official state protocols in order to confuse the court. The official state protocol clearly states that 2 crime laboratory ballistic experts are required to conduct a ballistics examination and verify the findings of a defense expert. Since Bembenek's expert's opinion, excuse me, I apologize. Since Bembenek's expert's opinion was that the murder bullet had not been fired from the alleged murder weapon, written state policy required both state experts to verify that fact. In this case, and only this case, and authorized by a temporary change of state protocol. Only 1 state expert re-examined the bullet removed in comparison with the alleged murder weapon. That expert was then disallowed by state protocol from agreeing with the opinion of no match by Bembenek's expert, as he would have had to do without a temporary change. After he gave his official opinion of inconclusive, the original protocol was reinstated. An independent ballistics examiner, not a state employee, also gave the same opinion of inconclusive, but the only way that no match opinion could be verified was by 2 state ballistic experts. State employees had deliberately rigged the process to confuse the court and continue to cover up the truth. This information was first disclosed to Bembenek. Catch the date, guys. First disclosed to Bembenek on July 28, 2005. During the deposition of Monty Lutz, the original state ballistic experts. So in 2005, July of 2005, our people at state level were doing depositions. It's just a few months later we have the Avery scandal coming up, right? Where he's been wrongfully convicted. And this is going to be teaming up with the Bembenek case? Holy crap. Assistant Attorney Generals Nadim Sahar and Gregory M. Weber aided the state employees with the cover-up. The aforementioned acts by Attorney Sahar was present at the Lutz deposition, and the facts have been previously reported in writing to Attorney Weber, director of the Wisconsin Department of Justice Criminal Appeals Unit. This criminal conduct was specifically designed to continue the cover-up that has denied Bembenek justice for years and calls into question the credibility of the Attorney General's office and the state crime laboratory involving every case it handles. All of the aforementioned acts constitute conspiracy and misconduct in public office. Whew. Before we start this reading of the actual testimony, I want to touch base with you guys. Plus, I'm a little lightheaded from reading, so. Let's see. Paula says, everyone's secure. Daughter is on the way with her husband to doctor. High fever. Get better soon, Rubberducky. Thank you, Paula. Hope everyone gets well soon. Who trained her? And Paula says they cover each other's butt. Disgraceful. From the bottom all the way to the top. You got it. All right, let's get right back into this. So, question. Now, this is Exhibit 16-1 in the Bembenek trial. Question. Do you have a request of deviation in order to do that testing the way you did it? I'm talking about the testing in 2003. A. Answer. No. So, do you have a request of deviation in order? So they didn't even request a deviation. Okay, question. Why didn't you have someone else oversee Mr. Templin's work in May of 2003 when the retesting went on? Answer, he's a unit leader. He's qualified firearms examiner. Question, wasn't that deviation of your policy? Answer, I guess I don't understand. Question, well, isn't it true that there should have been someone else there with him looking at his work from the Wisconsin Crime Lab? Answer, oh, the verification? Question, absolutely. Answer, yes. Question, in fact, you went out of your way on May 22nd of 2003 to submit a deviation request form, correct? Answer, that's right. I forgot about that. Question, so after the test is done, you ask for a deviation from the normal policy, right? Answer, that's correct. Question, and can you, for the record, tell us what your deviation request was? Answer, I assume it's written in here someplace. I would have requested that the verification by a second person be waived in this case. Question, look at page 526. 526, your proposed deviation is this. Answer, 5. Question, page 526 of Manual 39. The absence of another qualified laboratory firearms examiner meant that the independent verification of the exclusion of one weapon and the inconclusive nature of the comparison of the other weapon was not possible. Peer review of Reggie's notes was accomplished on 5/22/2003. This is the one-time request for deviation of the verification policy for that particular instance, correct? Answer, that's correct. Question, who signed that? Answer, John Nielsen signed it. Question, that's a temporary authorization, correct? Answer, that's what we asked for. Question, did you ever, so had Mr. Nelson, Reggie's boss in the department, sign for this temporary deviation? Answer, right. As a supervisor of that unit, he has the knowledge necessary to allow this. Question, up on the top it says, answer, I requested it, yes. Question, action by supervisor, forward to committee. Do you know if the committee reviewed this? Answer, I'd have to check the quality assurance coordinator to find out if they did. That would have been the person who would have signed off. Question, there's no signature by a committee signing off on this, is there? Answer, no, not on this copy, no. Question, so the people who decide to make this little deviation in the policy is you, Mr. Tremplin, and Mr. Nelson. Answer, that's correct. Wow. So back in 2011, January 2011, January, Unknown writes, Ira, I am so glad you are doing this. How many followers are on the blog? Why isn't more media coverage? Ira says, I have repeatedly reported all the information to the media. However, they have consistently pandered to the district attorney and refused to report. As if this time we have 40 followers. Thanks for the comment. I'm speechless. Hey, Vanessa, she says she's pulling a late one to listen to. I'm like, oh, thank you. Sorry I don't sound that great. Ricardo says, hello, my favorite channel. Thank you. Daisy Lady says, I still remember the Bembenek case because she was around my age at the time it happened. And just like Stephen Avery in 2005, it was presented by the press in a way that no one in Wisconsin doubted she did it. Daisy Lady said, these cases make me doubt everything local press says about anything. I 100% agree. That's the thing, is there's so much fake news. And they're trying to use it to change their laws. They're fear-mongering. And they're setting up people to be wrongfully convicted with their lies. I mean, when they're sending out on a teleprompter directly from the sheriff's office in Calumet, and the teleprompters on the news as well as the newspapers are simply reading what the sheriff wrote, and they're calling that investigative journalism, that's propaganda, you guys. That's just plain propaganda. That's a one-sided view of everything, making it seem like, we're supposed to trust the news. And the thing is their credibility is what was at risk, and they've lost their credibility. We don't believe a damn thing they say now. What we're looking for is true investigative journalists that'll come forward, like Ira Robbins did. Now, what's interesting, you guys, is I've tried something. So I went down here, and I looked up Archangel, who Ira Robbins teamed up with. I'm going to see if we can do it while we're live. I hope we don't freeze. If we do, I love you guys, and we'll have a live another time. But I looked up Ira Robbins on Wikipedia. If I could type today. Okay, let's get it. No, that wasn't it. I looked it up on something and it showed me Archangel. So I went to this Archangel site, and you can actually contact this Archangel. Ira. Yeah, this might have been it. Anyway, it's got a place. Okay, so this was the Milwaukee Sentinel, and it talks about Ira Robbins and stuff like that. And then at the bottom, because he passed away, okay, I think yes, and it says, Bembenek died in 2010. He continued his work on high-profile cases like it's jumping all over, like the death of Michael E. Bell, 21. Why is it doing this? This is why I have a hard time with news sites online. They just don't behave. Who was unarmed when he was fatally shot, and again it jumped. There it is. In his driveway by Kenosha police after a traffic stop in 2004. Yeah, Michael E. Bell. They've even proven that he was unarmed. He was 21. And I believe he was shot in front of his own family, right in his own driveway, by the Kenosha police. He also worked as an investigative consultant, teamed up with Salvador Rastrelli in Archangels of Justice. So I clicked it, and I think this is where it took me. I want you guys to go here. It says, our investigation team, Salvador Rastrelli, investigative consultant. So he teamed up with him. Retired law enforcement officer with 25 years of experience in all facets of criminal investigations and training. Testified in county, state, federal court in complex drug cases as well as homicides. Developed probable cause, affected arrest. I gotta take a drink and pause. I'm overheating. Anyway, he is excellent in facilitating groups through complex problem solving, action, and improvement, deterrent, the risk behavior. Okay, so he's got forensics, he's got criminal, he's got bachelor, he's got a master's in science, senior detective, crime scene investigator, Martin County Sheriff's Office from 87 till 2011. And so I emailed him. Yeah. And here's his phone number, 772-215-1162. I want us to contact him. What if he can help us? You can donate to him. I don't know. I just want to check him out because Ira Robbins was working with this guy. Should we subscribe to get weekly updates in my box? I don't know. It's probably going to slow us up. Yeah, we'll just wait while I'm not on a live to try to do that. Okay, you guys. So, I know it's a long stretch and maybe he can't do anything. But you know what? Maybe he can start such an investigation that it... because he works to reverse alleged wrongful convictions and taking up. And I know the problem would be that we already have Zellner and so forth, but he could be more like the private eye that helps the overall case. Perhaps he could look into the corruption itself. Who knows? But I thought it was worth mentioning. But then again, I'm feverish, so I'm going to chalk it up to that if you don't think so. Yeah, Vanessa says the media is used to dumb people down. It is. Yeah, Lisa says yes, and in the Michael Bell case, law enforcement made up a couple of nonsense stories to cover it up. Now, I'm not as familiar with the Michael Bell case. I don't know. Maybe I am. Was this the kid, like 21 years old, that got pinned on the roof of the vehicle, and then the officers tried to say that they thought he had a gun, but it actually, what the officers saw was his own reflection or something in the mirror that was attached to the car, and that Michael was unarmed, and that his family saw this, and this kid was 100% innocent and not even a threat, like had no history of being a threat. It was just like the cops just took him out. Smart Page is a search engine that is ad free. Thank you, Jen. Smart Page, or Start Page, START Page, PAGE. Daisy Lady says, I'm in Kenosha County, and our current sheriff of several years was my son's Little League coach about 20 years ago. I've seen the same man do press conference and don't recognize him. Eddie wants to know what county the Bembenek case was in. Milwaukee. Yeah, Milwaukee County. But later I know the Dane County was involved, the Winnebago County was involved, kind of like the Calumet, Manitowoc. So a lot of other counties get involved in high profile cases. And that's why I say we're going to dig into this a little bit. Locals are coming forward and going, wait a minute, I recognize Calumet people, Calumet County people in the Milwaukee cop nude pictures. How far a stretch is that when you've got the Winnebago and the Dane County and all this? It's not a far stretch. They've already got a letter out there that they're going forward. The locals are not backing down, and I stand behind them. I know everybody's mad at me right now because I don't know how the locals want me to stand up with them and stuff, and I'm trying. I really am trying. I do think that these pictures, in my personal opinion, look like some of these people. I just don't have the background personally to identify them, so I'm of no use that way. But can I be a voice? Can I try to get the media involved and alerted? Absolutely. And some people believe that we don't matter, that no matter what we talk about online isn't really going to help this case, but I totally disagree with that. We got to protect ourselves. If we ignore history, it repeats itself again and again. We see that from Bembenek to the Avery case. So what's the next case that they've got lined up, or have we missed one in the way where they frame people and they get away with it because nobody pauses to connect the dots and actually makes it very well known and gets it out on the table? They keep getting away with it. Oh, that's what it was. Thank you, Lisa. So back to the Michael Bell case, okay? Lisa says, they claimed Michael went for the cop's gun when actually his gun belt got caught on the rear view mirror of the car they had him pinned to. Unbelievable. And they tried to cover it up. That's the worst part. They tried very hard to continue to cover it up even afterwards. It's one thing to make a mistake. It's another to cover it up. It's one thing not to have an alibi because you were sleeping. It's another thing to not have an alibi because whatever you were doing was more nefarious than you can let on to. Yeah. So if we've got these kind of levels of problems, where's our marshal that comes in and investigates this kind of level of corruption? An American marshal. We need somebody that in high authority hears our little voice and says, yeah, we're going to come in and investigate this and get this done with, because this is ridiculous. We need media to do their job. We really do. And I don't think it's just up to Fox News. There's NBC. Why can't NBC talk about this? Ask the hard questions. Is it possible that a state of Wisconsin has given animal bones back to the victim? If that's true, then they used animal bones to convict two men for murder. Wrongfully convicted them for murder. Either way, it's wrong. They've broken the law. And look at this picnic. We got cops that are allegedly doing cocaine in front of children and dancing naked and flaunting and gyrating on the stage in front of these minors. And then you got dead people. Okay, so this came to mind last night too when I want to talk about Ryan Hilligus. Why did Fassbender call him Killigus? He did. He called him Killigus. And then you look at that one note. It's like a map drawn. And somebody said Ryan drew it, but yet it says Ryan Killigus on it. And then you look at the sign in and out sheet. It says Ryan Killigus. Kill. Kill. Not Hilligus. Killigus. Well, you look at the Bambi case, and allegedly, now that we know all the shake has fallen out here, the shakedown's done, we could get the bigger picture. Allegedly, this ex-cop, or the ex-husband, would have facilitated somehow the murder of Christine Schultz, his ex-wife. All right. But at the same time, they need rid of Bambi, who's bringing up pictures that are going to show the corruption of these cops doing bad things at picnic table. So I'm not sure how or why or what the reason was, other than I guess Christina Schultz was very fearful of him and he was still interacting with her all this time later, right? We have that with Ryan, with Teresa. Consistently trying to remain in contact with her and control her and that behavior. And then in the Bembenek case, let's say allegedly the cop ex-husband did it. They pin it on Bembenek. The cops helped pin it on Bembenek to protect the cop, right? Wasn't it weird how Kratz called Ryan like unofficial law enforcement? How Ryan was allowed to run the search party and lead it. I can't talk today. Freudian slip. That's what Gloria points out. That's my point too. You know, an omission. Think about the fact that, you know, the last time that Ryan Hilligus reported to the New York Times or the New York Press or whatever that he had seen the victim, she was wearing a cowgirl's outfit. Then he gets on trial. Now, if he had seen her last in the daytime, there wouldn't have been a conflict in his answer whatsoever, because that was expected, was daytime. He stuttered when he was rambling off his answers, and he couldn't answer correctly, which would be night, in my opinion. I think that's why he said he couldn't remember. Because if he was going to say day, he would have just said daytime. But he was rambling off something, and, you know, what time of day, what was it, day or night? He wasn't expecting that question. His brain froze. His brain had, you know, fart brain for a minute. Because if he answered what I believe would have been his correct answer, which was night, this would have taken a direct L shape in the trial. What do you mean you saw her at night, right? So he had to go with, well, I don't remember. And no matter how stupid that sounded, he could not say night. But he couldn't backtrack and say day now either. He put himself in a hard place. But his body language was that he couldn't say it, because it was an O.J. Simpson moment for me. You know, it was night when he saw her in my mind at that moment, is what I saw. And I did see her in that little outfit. Now, you've got the problem over there with Karen Hallbach reporting that Scott Blodorn saw her on Monday, the 31st, but Scott saying, no, I didn't see her Monday. I saw her Maybe Sunday, I mean, you've got in one trial Karen Halbach saying, well, I know I saw my daughter because she was at my father's birthday party, blah, 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 blah. And so it was that weekend, so it had just been a couple days since she saw Teresa. Yet when she's in the Brendan trial, she makes it very clear that they celebrate the Karen's father's birthday the week before Halloween. So was it really more like over a week since you had seen Teresa yourself? Were you recalling everything in Stephen's trial to make it sound like it was that weekend? Is it possible that the 29th of October was the last we saw of Teresa? Then everybody says, well, no, obviously not. We saw her, she got seen on the 31st at Stephen Avery's. Really? How do we know? How do we really know? Because if that was Carmen Botwell and she just curled her hair that way and put a baseball cap on, how would he even expect it to be somebody different than Teresa? And he said he didn't pay much attention to her. And he's the only one that could have possibly seen her, because the guy that says he saw her and paid her by check, remember him? Is it Schultz? Or is it Sipple? I think it's Schultz. Or no, Schmitz. There's too many S names. He said he paid her by check. We got no check. And the problem is, you can say, well, it was in her pocket. No, because I believe it was Wiegert or Fassbender, probably Wiegert, said he saw the check. No, he didn't. He retracts. Yeah. So nobody can verify. There's no proof that anybody saw this woman on the 30th or the 31st. What if Ryan actually saw her last, literally, on the 29th of September? October, sorry. What if that was the Halloween party? Carmen was found dead, Vanessa, on 11/03 in 05. We'll see you later, Jen. Have a good day. I'm going backwards here, but Justin says not to mention the number of phone calls with Ellie throughout the case. Yeah, he was acting like he was part of the law enforcement. I mean, his name appears on the seizing of the RAV as mentioned on the report. Of all people, it's ex-boyfriend's name on that RAV. I'll bet you he moved that RAV, in my opinion, because that way they could say his prints could be eliminated. Excuse me. Let's see here. Vanessa says, did you watch Brendan in coerced interviews say he threatened me not to tell in the garage? He was angry with TH because he couldn't get his blazer, Daisy Lady says. Vanessa overturned, yep, and he put the suitcases on the less traveled road in rural Walworth County to try to throw off the investigation. They did link the cops to the murders, though. Surprising. Did anyone see Dateline on Friday? Oh my God. I'm not sure, Jen. I've been seeing so much information. I've just can't keep up with it all. I'm trying, though. Oh, yeah. Okay, we missed the first part. So Vanessa's talking. She says, and did you see the article on the cop killed 2 women, hid one body in a suitcase, and he only got 35 years. He'll be out when he's 80 years old. And that's when Daisy Lady says, yep, and he put the suitcases on a less traveled road in rural Walworth County to try to throw off the investigation. They did link the cop to the murder, so surprising. Yeah. Jen also said there is zero journalism these days. They are given a script and they are told to read it. Danella says satanic rituals. Becky says, I watched Michael's dad given his press release and sad, so pleased he can't afford to make this more publicly known. Yeah, poor kid. And the cops just set him up. So you guys, let's talk about this Bembenek thing for a minute versus Avery. All right, so here we go. Back to the Avery case. We've got Culhane stating that right here, admitted that it was the only time earning in her 23-year career that she had to deviate from protocol to make a conclusive ruling. So what that means is it would have been considered inconclusive, not a match, if she would have followed protocol. Because it inconclusive, but no, it's reported as a match because they bent the rules. And the rules they bent was that we don't have to worry if the bullet's contaminated. So this is 2007 in February, right? Let's go over here. Let's see when this is. So that was 2007. This is July of 2005. Right before Teresa goes missing. We have this whole deviation take place where they don't have to have two witnesses to make the test results on the bullet match. Deviation. Both situations, Milwaukee Crime Lab. Yeah. If I cough on them muffins, A and B. Sorry. I got to get off here because I am sick. But I just wanted to hold true. I said we'd do a live. Forgive me for hacking and coughing in your ear. I apologize. But I wanted to do the live and get this out. We'll be doing another one, possibly later this afternoon if I fill up to it, where we're going to jump into another part of the Bembenek Avery case. Or if I fall asleep and sleep through the evening, we'll do it tomorrow. I want to thank you all very much for joining me. Let me see if I can move the mic and I'll type. Sorry about that, guys. I appreciate you all for joining me. I want to read a couple more things here that Dassey lady says the cop was convicted. Yeah, I can't believe he's only getting a few years. He's a cop. He should lock him up, throw away the key. All right. Much love to you all and have a great day. Hopefully you all get better. I'd blow kisses to you, but I don't want to get the healthy one sick. All right. Bye, guys.